What this was, Mr. Monisset, this secretary, this cabinet member of our state, selling out the taxpayers in order to make a few bucks and to ensure that perpetrators like Mr. Monisset face justice. And I have the three prosecutors from our office who worked this case, First Assistant Myers Namey and Assistant United States Attorneys Lauren Nickel and LaDonte Murphy here, as well as Alex Dempsey from the Department of Justice, and as well as Special Agent in Charge Jonathan Tapp from the FBI, to talk about this case. And specifically, LaDonte is going to speak to this case, talk about why it's significant, and then Special Agent in Charge Tapp is going to talk about the FBI side, about why this case matters and why it should be something that members of our community know that we're doing. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to LaDonte.
Thank you. My name is LaDonte Murphy. I'm an Assistant United States Attorney for the Western District of Louisiana. And I want to thank the U.S. Attorney for his leadership in this case. We were able to work with the men and women of the FBI and the IRS to make sure that this tragedy against our citizenry in the form of public corruption came to an end. I'm excited that we were given the leadership and the guidance to be able to follow the facts to wherever they led, and that led us to the Secretary of Wildlife and Fisheries pleading guilty today. We know from the work done by the FBI and IRS that this case originally became important to our office because we were investigating another public corruption matter, and that other matter, some of these same co-conspirators decided that they were going to influence the pretrial diversion intervention program of several DA's offices across the state. That's important because the criminal justice process is the bedrock of what our state's criminal justice system does. And while we were working that matter, agents learned that several of these individuals, particularly one Louisiana businessman, decided that he wanted to influence not only those state DA's offices, but the Secretary of Wildlife and Fisheries to engage in a scheme where he would be awarded a contract. That contract would have turned to be very lucrative, where these co-conspirators would have earned large sums of money. Based on the outstanding work of the men and women of the FBI and the IRS, we were able to stop that scheme as it entered its infancy to make sure that the taxpayers did not receive a significant undermining of the integrity of the Department of Wildlife and Fisheries. We know that if this matter had allowed to continue, these individuals would have enriched themselves at the expense of the people's trust in their government. So based on the case that was handed to us, we worked with our prosecutorial team. Our first assistant, Myers Namey, and Lauren Gardner, who led up this prosecution team, were outstanding. They were able to facilitate this work with the assistance of the Public Integrity Section of the Department of Justice's Public Integrity Unit, commonly known to us in law enforcement as PIN. We're excited about this work. We stopped these individuals. We know that as this scheme was moving along, these individuals obtained around $53,000 from this scheme. They were going to split that in thirds, and the secretary was to receive around $17,800 for his portion of that scheme. We know through the work of IRS that one of the co-conspirators was holding in a secret bank account those funds for the secretary. I'm proud to say that due to the work of our prosecutors and the agents in this case, none of that money was able to be spent by the secretary, and today marks the beginning of our efforts to bring him to justice. We would like everybody to know that you can trust that the U.S. Attorney's Office will make sure that the citizens get the good government that they deserve. At this time, I'm going to turn it over to the Special Agent in Charge of the New Orleans Field Office, SAC, Jonathan Tapp.
Thank you, LaDonte. U.S. Attorney Keller, ladies and gentlemen, I'm Jonathan Tapp, Special Agent in Charge of the FBI's New Orleans Field Office. Operation Cajun Hustle, the name of this operation, was born 5 years ago when the FBI received a tip about a Lafayette area business owner extorting another citizen. The case was very complex, touching multiple state and local agencies and public servants. Those public servants had taken oaths to uphold the Constitution and faithfully work for the people of Louisiana. Today, Mr. Monisset becomes the third such public servant caught up in a conspiracy to steal money from the people of this great state. In this case, Mr. Monisset helped a co-conspirator get a lucrative state contract to provide online courses for kickbacks. If all went as planned, he would have continued to get payments totaling in the millions long after he retired from wildlife and fisheries. Thankfully, there are still good people out there who reached out to the FBI and local law enforcement to report this criminal activity. The FBI and our partners are here to ensure that public officials honor the public's trust. 4 other individuals are already serving federal prison sentences for their crimes uncovered during Operation Cajun Hustle. We appreciate the support of the United States Attorney's Office, our diligent FBI and IRS special agents, to put this case to a successful conclusion, and will continue the fight against public corruption here in Louisiana. Thank you. U.S. Attorney Keller.
Thank you. And we're going to hold for questions about Mr. Monisset's case until the end. And I want to turn us to why we originally called this press conference, which was to talk about our work in this district in the Homeland Security Task Force area, and specifically our work disrupting and dismantling drug trafficking networks that are working through this state, coming from other countries, including Mexico, primarily Mexico, and bringing fentanyl, bringing cocaine, bringing methamphetamine into our district, into other communities here in this country. And as I kind of began just talking about this joint effort, and this effort by federal partners, by state partners, I want to tell you first that we had a press conference last month up in Shreveport talking about a surge. And I want to be real clear, this is not a surge. This is not a special operation. This is instead what this program, what the HSTF, the Homeland Security Task Force, is designed to do. It's to bring law enforcement together to work impactful cases that make our community safer. And here we're joined by the FBI, by the DEA, by HSI, Homeland Security Investigations, by ATF, the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives. We're joined by Sheriff Guillory at the Calcasieu Sheriff's Office. And finally, we're joined by Louisiana State Police, who are all over the state, Louisiana State Police, making these communities safer and working hand in hand with federal partners. Most people in this room, including myself, have people whose lives have been affected or ended by fentanyl, by methamphetamine, by the drugs that we're talking about today, the drugs we're talking about getting off our streets. And the reality is that the criminal organizations, largely from Mexico, who are working in our communities, are working with criminals in our communities to peddle these poisons to our friends, to our families, and to our children. And our office and our partners have been focused on these problems since I got here in September. Every day, working together, each agency, to find these people and to put them behind bars. And our work has resulted in more than twice as many charged cases during the 3 months, January to March this year, compared to 2024, 40% more than in 2025, and the 5 cases we're here to highlight today. And you'll see to my right that we've got a series of slides going that show you some of the drugs that we're talking about that were found and recovered as part of investigations that span this state, that span Shreveport, Breaux Bridge, Lafayette, and Alexandria. And I want to note that we held a press conference last month about a large transnational criminal conspiracy in Vernon Parish in Leesville, Louisiana. And this is all of a piece. This is all talking about the same networks that we are here to disrupt. These 5 cases that we're here to talk about today and to highlight involve a total of roughly 25 pounds of fentanyl, roughly 335 pounds of methamphetamine, and roughly 253 pounds of cocaine. The Lake Charles and Breaux Bridge cases both involved illegal alien Mexican nationals trafficking cocaine and methamphetamine through this district, and the Shreveport case involved a death that resulted from the defendant's fentanyl trafficking in their possession of firearms. And in amplifying these cases here today, we want to be clear on the messages we're sending. To our communities across Louisiana, we want you to know that we're working night and day, weekends and holidays, together, federal and state, to remove these drugs from our streets and to put the people who are selling them behind bars. And to the criminals still out there on our streets who are doing this, who are poisoning our people, and who are causing this chaos, our message is similarly simple, that you're next, that we are working every day to bring more cases like what we're here to talk about today. And these 5 cases we see are in Shreveport is United States versus Willie Baker, where there are 10 defendants in a drug trafficking conspiracy, with a source of supply who was indicted and arrested who was in Houston, where we're talking about 11 pounds of fentanyl, 6 pounds of meth, firearms, and the death that resulted from that fentanyl trafficking. In Breaux Bridge, the case is United States versus Ranulfo Rodriguez and Christian Ramirez, and there we have roughly 325 pounds of methamphetamine concealed in an ice cream machine that was being towed on the interstate. In Lafayette, we have U.S. versus Lance Fields and Ronald Adams Jr., where we have roughly 225 pounds of cocaine in a truck bed pulled over in the Lafayette area. In Lake Charles, we have roughly 33 pounds of cocaine recovered in United States versus Juan Gonzalez de Leon et al. And in Alexandria, we have United States versus Elijah Jones with roughly 13 pounds of fentanyl and 4 pounds of meth in a storage unit. Now, our partners that are here with me today, who are going to talk about their work on the Homeland Security Task Force, are instrumental to every one of these cases, but each of them specifically worked on one or more of them, are the people who made these cases happen. But I, just on behalf of our office, want to recognize Deputy Chief Jessica Cassidy, who's right here, and Assistant United States Attorneys Daniel Vermaelen and LaDante, who was up before, LaDante Murphy, for working these cases, along with Legal Assistant Christy Angel, back in the back left corner, who worked on 4 out of the 5 cases. And with that, I want to turn it to our law enforcement partners, who are the ones who made these cases for this community, for our office, starting with Special Agent in Charge Jonathan Tapp.
Thank you, U.S. Attorney Keller. Hello again, and good morning. Again, I'm Jonathan Tapp, Special Agent in Charge of the FBI's New Orleans Field Office. We're here today with our partners to announce the results of these several operations that will have long-lasting impacts on the communities of North and Central Louisiana. First, I want to acknowledge our great partner agencies, DEA, HSI, Sheriff's Office, Sheriff Guillory, Louisiana State Police, ATF, who are working side by side with us at FBI every day to fight violent gangs and transnational criminal enterprises that traffic dangerous drugs like fentanyl across our borders and into our great republic. Our case against Willie Baker and 9 of his co-conspirators is a major blow to these criminal organizations. Baker was allegedly one of the main distributors of illegal drugs in North Louisiana. Facts from our investigation assert that he was bringing in significant amounts of illegal narcotics into this state. We seized approximately 25 pounds of methamphetamine and fentanyl alone. Drugs allegedly sold by the Baker organization resulted in the death of at least 1 victim. The good news is the case that we built against Mr. Baker and his co-conspirators should keep them off the streets for a very long time. Their reach stretched throughout North and Central Louisiana and across the state line into Houston. That's where their supplier is also now behind bars. The FBI did not do this alone. The Northwest Louisiana Violent Crime Task Force, Caddo Parish Sheriff's Office, Shreveport PD, Louisiana State Police, and the U.S. Marshal's Office worked with us to build an extremely strong case on that case. When we work together, we maximize our impact against these criminal organizations. We also want to recognize the immeasurable support we received from the U.S. Attorney's Office, our local DAs, and Attorney General Murrell's office, because without strong prosecutors, our cases would go nowhere. We encourage the public to continue to reach out to local law enforcement and the FBI to report crime problems like this, because you are our partners too. The illegal drug trade destroys lives, families, and communities, and spreads violent crime throughout our great nation. The Homeland Security Task Forces are made to root it out. We also understand that undoubtedly someone will try to step up and take Mr. Baker's place. But just know this, the FBI and our partners are not going anywhere, and we're ready for the challenge of getting you accommodations in federal prison too. We appreciate the public support, and we appreciate our law enforcement partners who put themselves in dangerous situations to keep our community safe every day. Thank you very much. U.S. Attorney Keller.
And we'll go to Special Agent Steve Hofer next.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Stephen Hofer. I'm the DEA Special Agent in charge of the New Orleans Field Division. I want to thank U.S. Attorney Keller and his dedicated team for the leadership in bringing these indictments forward. I also want to acknowledge my colleagues that are up here with me today from the FBI, from ATF, HSI, the Louisiana State Police, and all of the sheriff and local police departments that we work with every day. Our mission at DEA is simple, but it's also relentless. We go after the most ruthless drug trafficking organizations to save lives. What you see detailed in these 5 cases is the definition of a whole-of-government response to a public health and public safety crisis. The DEA was proud to lead the investigation for 2 of these major highlighted cases today. That's the seizure in Bow Bridge and the one in Lafayette. In Bow Bridge, our agents and the Louisiana State Police intercepted an ice cream truck. But it wasn't just carrying treats. That truck had 147 kilograms of methamphetamine hidden inside of metal boxes that were welded together. To put that in perspective, that's hundreds of thousands of individual doses that were destined for our streets. In Lafayette, we took down an 18-wheeler carrying 100 kilograms of cocaine. These aren't just drug busts. These are strategic strikes against the supply chains of transnational criminal organizations, ones like the CJNG and the Gulf Cartel. These cartels don't care about the borders of Louisiana, and they certainly don't care about the lives that they affect. They only care about their profit. When we seize this amount of drugs, we're cutting into the cartel's bottom line and stopping the flow of this poison before it reaches our neighbors. We also cannot overlook the Shreveport case involving Willie Baker and his associates. This is the type of case that's a somber reminder of why we do this work. One person is dead because of the fentanyl the group allegedly trafficked. Fentanyl is the deadliest drug that we have faced in this country ever. It's cheap, it's potent, and it's killing our neighbors at a record rate. When a life is lost, the DEA and the Homeland Security Task Force will not stop until those that are responsible are held accountable. To those that are trafficking these substances, if you peddle these poisons in the Western District of Louisiana, you will find yourself in a federal courtroom facing decades of prison time. The Homeland Security Task Force is proof that when we pool our resources, our intelligence, and our grit, the cartel loses. The DEA New Orleans Field Division remains fully committed to this fight. We will continue to hunt down these organizations, dismantle their networks, and protect the families here in Louisiana. Thank you. I'll turn it back to U.S. Attorney Keller.
Thank you. And next we'll hear from Special Agent in charge of Homeland Security Investigations, Matt Wright.
Good morning. I'm Matt Wright. I'm the acting special agent in charge for Homeland Security Investigations for Louisiana, Arkansas, and Mississippi. I also co-lead our Homeland Security Task Force with the FBI. Thank you, U.S. Attorney Keller, and your team for putting this event together, and also for being such strong partners in our fight with Homeland Security Investigations and the Homeland Security Task Force. The cases highlighted today, including the one I'm about to describe, are the direct result of partnerships and the task force model at work. Investigations like these, the ones that Steve and Jonathan have highlighted so far, show the true power of collaboration between federal, state, and local law enforcement. And our Homeland Security Task Forces are built on that model. When we share information, align our authorities, and work together as one team, we are far more effective than any single agency working together. I especially want to recognize our continued collaboration with our partners in the region, including the Calcasieu Parish Sheriff's Office, the Calcasieu Parish Combined Anti-Drug Task Force, Louisiana State Police, and our other sheriffs, police departments, and other agencies that we work with every day. For HSI Lake Charles, one recent example of this unified effort was our investigation into a load of 15 kilograms of cocaine that was seized on February 12th on I-10 in Calcasieu Parish. Members of the Calcasieu Parish Combined Anti-Drug Task Force conducted a traffic stop, and then during a subsequent search of the vehicle, discovered the cocaine. Working alongside our partners with the Calcasieu Task Force and the DEA, HSI helped to ensure those drugs never reached their intended destination, which was neighborhoods in America. Also ensuring that the defendants in this case, 2 illegal aliens and 1 U.S. citizen, will face justice in federal court. This is just one recent example, and it's not the end of the story. In this investigation and others, through our Homeland Security Task Force, our agents and our partners will continue to work together to follow the evidence, using all available tools, including forensic analysis, to identify co-conspirators, suppliers, and the networks responsible for these narcotics. Our goal is never just to seize the contraband in front of us. HSI will continue to use the Homeland Security Task Force model and our vital partnerships to disrupt and dismantle foreign terrorist organizations and other transnational criminal organizations, and to protect our communities from the violence and devastation caused by illegal drugs. Thank you again to United States Attorney Keller and to all of our great partners here today. HSI remains committed to standing with you to help to ensure that we keep our country safe and keep our communities safe. Thank you. I'll turn it back over to you, Attorney Keller.
Thank you. And we'll next turn to Special Agent in Charge of ATF, Josh Jackson.
Thank you. Good morning. As stated, my name is Joshua Jackson. I'm the ATF Special Agent in Charge for the New Orleans Field Division. ATF's mission is pretty simple. It's to support public safety, to address violent crime. And this investigative team that you see behind me is exactly why ATF has joined up with this team, so that we can have the most impact in disrupting narcotics distributors, drug trafficking organizations, firearms traffickers, and others that cause the majority of the harm and the most violence within our community. These groups are also responsible for most, if not all, of the fentanyl overdoses and other narcotics overdoses that we experience as a community. Going forward with this investigative team in lockstep, it's going to be continuous, and we're only warming up. We plan on having multiple investigations like you see before you here as we push these investigations through U.S. Attorney's Office Keller's office and his team, so that we have the most impact in addressing violent crime throughout this community, throughout this district. With this Homeland Security Task Force in play, the members that you see behind me and also members who are working with us day to day, we know that we're going to have a lot of impact in addressing violent crime, preventing, reducing, and solving violent crime. More to do, more to come. We look forward to making additional announcements through the U.S. Attorney's Office as we move forward as a collective team.
Thank you. And next we're going to hear from one of our just most remarkable state partners, the Superintendent of Louisiana State Police, Colonel Hodges.
Thank you, U.S. Attorney Keller. Good morning, everyone. You see the strong partnership behind us. What's so unique is many of the federal partners have all of Louisiana and our neighboring states, and you'll know what that equates to, force multiplier. Because Louisiana State Police is a uniform division as well as an investigative agency, we're able to provide that immediate interaction on our highways and interstates. Specifically, the cases that you've seen and which are on the monitor to my right, your left, show that collaboration. And when our uniformed troopers, who daily are out providing traffic enforcement and interdiction efforts on our state highways across Louisiana, we're not only finding those motorists who are driving aggressively, but also those who want to traffic narcotics illegally. The 2 seizures that we had some significant involvement with both in Lafayette and Breaux Bridge show our commitment to look beyond just a traffic violation and understand what those bad actors are trying to do to our state, and more specifically, the communities of the Southwest Louisiana and North Louisiana. With those examples that you've already been told by U.S. Attorney Keller and his team, without the DEA, the HSI, the FBI, ATF, and our other federal partners, you heard the U.S. Marshal Service, and of course our sheriffs and our police chiefs across the state, these cases don't move through the system. And what I mean is the initial contact being uniformed law enforcement, followed up by our plainclothes investigators, more specifically our federal partners who adopt the cases federally, and then in turn reach out to our U.S. attorneys for full prosecution. So in closing, because I know many good things have already been said and y'all may be growing impatient, I just want to say that specifically we're confident that the actions of these drug traffickers are going to have strong consequences, because U.S. Attorney Keller here in the Western District, as well as in the Middle and in the Eastern District of Louisiana, our three areas, are committed to public safety, more importantly, committed to holding people accountable for drug trafficking and other serious offenses. So thank you, and more importantly, always reach out to law enforcement, whether that's through 911, whether it's through anonymous tip line online, the See Something, Say Something app. All of our agencies have those availabilities. So if you, our community, as stated earlier, is so important to our success. If you don't let us know you're a victim of a crime or witness to a crime, we can't help you in your respective parish or city, town, or village